Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and this time I would like to have a simple, but also hopefully fun and interesting discussion on what may be going on with Nintendo right now. They are going to have their playtest program starting next week. It starts on the 23rd, but those who are in the playtest program will be able to download the app to it a couple days beforehand. And there's a possibility that what they may have planned for this program is controversial, but there's also a possibility that what this is may be exciting, and then there's also a possibility that it might be both. So what some people have noted is that this application recommends that you have a wired connection and that you play on TV mode, which has led some people to believe that this is something that requires an online connection, which might mean that it's something related to cloud streaming. Which is why this may end up being something controversial, because a lot of fans aren't fans of cloud streaming. However, a lot of people have also noted that the download for this application is 2.2 gigabytes. So if this was just a cloud streaming client of some kind, it probably wouldn't be that big. So then it gives us hope that this could be still something exciting. And a lot of us have been attaching the idea that perhaps it's something to do with Nintendo GameCube, and there has been smoke around this idea of something happening GameCube related. We've seen the GameCube trademarks from earlier this year. There have been the classic GameCube something shipping information that's been out there since this summer, and most recently, since the 19.0 firmware update for Switch, there have been reports of third-party GameCube adapters experiencing issues. So it seems like something GameCube is happening behind the scenes. Does it have to do with the playtest program? Possibly, but also possibly not. People have an optimism that all this GameCube smoke has to do with this playtest program, because also recently Nintendo put out a newsletter teasing something new and exciting for next year, and this playtest program is testing out a new feature. Perhaps a new feature is literally just GameCube Online, as the other features for the expansion pack are N64 and Game Boy Advance and a whole bunch of DLC. So yeah, I think it's possible, and maybe this is what it is. But something to note here is that 2.2 gigabytes, while bigger than the N64 app that is 1.6 gigabytes, might not be big enough to hold a whole bunch of GameCube games. And this is going to be an issue when it comes to adding more modern games to Switch Online, because older games don't take up as much space, but newer games certainly do. GameCube games, Wii games, 3DS games are significantly more sophisticated than games for N64 and beforehand, so they're going to take up a lot more space. So if we were ever to get other platforms beyond N64 for Switch Online expansion pack, Nintendo's probably going to need to find out a way to resolve the storage space issue. Maybe one way is through cloud streaming GameCube games. Now some people will say still, well, 2.2 gigabytes is still too big. But what if this application has other features that makes it more significant? Maybe this has nothing to do with GameCube at all. Maybe it has something to do with playtesting multiplayer games through online and having advanced online features. Maybe there's a messaging system involved. Maybe there's better matchmaking involved. Maybe this allows random matchmaking for other existing NSO games already. There's a variety of possibilities here, but Nintendo is doing this playtest for a reason. They are testing something out here, and oftentimes when we're seeing a massive test like this, it's to work out the kinks or do a stress test for the online connection or the online setup. But it's also possible it has nothing to do with this, and maybe it's just like a random new game that we had never heard about, and that's what they want to test out. Maybe. But going back to the GameCube idea, if this is a GameCube app, and it's also just a test of the GameCube app, it's probably not the full app. Whatever this playtest program is, it's to help complete whatever this new feature is going to be. So we're probably not seeing the full version of it, and if it's related to GameCube, then maybe there's only maybe 1 or 2 games for this application, because it's just a playtest, and then the final version may have more, like 6 or 8 at launch. And that would explain for the size. Now, how will that explain for the recommended online connection? Well, maybe this is a playtest for GameCube games online. But I'll throw out another idea, kind of a merger of controversial and exciting. What if it is GameCube, and it is being streamed, it is through the cloud, but you are able to store a game or two at a time, and if you want to access the others, it has to be through online, but you can swap them out if you want to enjoy them in offline mode. Maybe that's a solution to GameCube, Wii, or 3DS NSO apps down the road. It's a service that lets you have select titles available at all times, whether you're online or not, and if you want to access the wider library, you have to get online, but you can swap them out if you so choose. That way, it does not take up that much space on the console. The Switch has limited storage space, the Switch 2 may not be that much better, so perhaps Nintendo needs to look into solutions for how they're going to handle these more sophisticated NSO games if they do want to expand beyond just N64. So I thought it would be a good idea to have this discussion because going into next week, we may find out what this is, and a lot of people might be upset if it's related to cloud streaming, but it also still might be exciting. So I'm curious on what you guys have to say on that in the comments below. But if you've gone this far and you're still here and you're enjoying the discussion, if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now, I'm pretty much done sort of airing out my thoughts on this potentially controversial or potentially exciting playtest program. But I will also throw in a bonus discussion that I did not mention, and that's this almost certainly fake rumor that's going around right now. I think it's extremely unlikely to be real, but there is something to it that is causing a bit more conversation. So there's this 4chan leak that talks about the Switch 2 reveal trailer being this Wednesday. It's only going to be a 3-minute trailer, but it's going to include details on the next new Mario Kart. It's going to show off some side characters like from Star Fox, Pikmin, F-Zero, and Zelda, a Kid Icarus Uprising remake, more on Metroid Prime 4, including Sylix and multiplayer, a quick snippet of 3D Mario and Animal Crossing, some third-party games like Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and the release date for the console supposedly this May, to happen the same month as the opening of the Nintendo Universal Park in Orlando. So the reason why some people are kind of thinking about this a little bit more is, I think, one, just they're excited about Switch 2, and this seems cool. Sure, it seems cool. I would love for this to be real. But it's the date of May for Super Nintendo World opening in Orlando that is leading some people to believe this might be real, because Nintendo announced that Super Nintendo World is opening in Orlando today. However, there was an article from Variety early in the morning yesterday that already provided this information that the park is opening in May. So the info is already out there. This post may have just gotten that information, or it was just a lucky guess. Also, something else the post mentions is an 8-player split screen mode for Mario Kart. The industry is shying away from split screen. While I think it would be funny for Nintendo to double down and not just do 4-player, but actually do 8, that would be hilarious. It doesn't seem realistic. The more split screens you have on that, the more stressful it is for the device. Of course, Switch 2 would be more powerful, so maybe it would be possible, but it also would be very, very crowded. It's already hard for people to focus when it's 4-player split screen. To do 8? I don't know if Nintendo would do something like that. Now, if they want to treat it as just like a very wacky, wild mode, then maybe Nintendo would do something like this, but I would not expect anything like this. I'll believe it when I see it, and until I see it, I'm going to assume that this is a really good sign for this leak absolutely being fake. Another one that I mentioned earlier, Kid Icarus Uprising Remake, I would love this. This would just make me so happy. But why in the world would Nintendo have this in the reveal trailer? That doesn't really seem to make much sense to me. Kid Icarus Uprising isn't really anything known, so I don't know if they would want to put that in the reveal trailer. Maybe it could come out next year, and it could perhaps be an amazing Switch 2 game, but I don't see why they would include it in the reveal trailer, unless it just looks so amazing visually that it's meant to be a visual showcase for the console. Maybe, but I would say it's pretty darn unlikely. And we've talked about a lot here that would be in this trailer, but they also said it's only a 3-minute trailer. I will mention that the Switch 1 trailer was like 3 minutes and 40 some seconds. It was closer to 4 minutes than 3. So maybe the idea is just to suggest that we have a similar trailer here, but that's a lot to show off in a small amount of time. Let's remind ourselves that they also need to show off the console itself, not just the games for it. So I don't think they could just do it all in a 3-minute trailer. Some people mentioned that having Sparking Zero and Monster Hunter Wilds in the reveal trailer is also unlikely. I don't really agree with that. I think Sparking Zero is very conceivable, and it's actually been really popular, so it might be a good idea to have it in the reveal trailer. Monster Hunter Wilds would be huge, but some people think the Switch 2 wouldn't be able to run that, but I think it probably will be able to run that. Some people have pointed to how we have seen some issues with playable builds on PlayStation 5, but these aren't final builds, and we don't know if they were developing Monster Hunter Wilds with Switch 2 in mind. So I wouldn't be writing off Monster Hunter Wilds on Switch 2 quite yet. There are even rumors suggesting that it will be coming, so we'll all see, but my point is that I don't think that that is the red flag to look for in this leak. It's the other things. So it's probably fake. But what do you think? What do you make of this potential controversy with the Nintendo Playtest Program? Do you think it is going to be controversial? Do you think it's going to be exciting? Do you think it's going to be both? And what do you make of this almost certainly fake leak? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.